Great. Thank you, Munya. I'm Mark Knight. I'm the Chief Healthcare Scientist at NHS Kenton Medway Integrated Care Board. I thought I would start with this slide here, which is rather nice. You can see that the healthcare science is split into four broad areas. So life sciences, pathology, biological type sciences, physiological sciences. That's all about measuring things. So if I breathe, I've got things going on my brain, my heart. I need to measure some of that stuff as part of my diagnosis, and you can bet your life that a physiological scientist will be involved with that. Physical sciences, including engineering. So that will be, if you really like physics, like I do, and engineering, then these are all the things you might do there. And we'll talk a little bit more about some of those. And our newest field down here, informatics, which is all about scientific computing. So I'm sure you've all heard of the human genome, the DNA sequence. Obviously, there's a lot of computational mathematics behind sequencing DNA. So we have people now working in the field of computational biology and really helping with the diagnosis and treatment of patients. And I quite like this little thing at the top here. Healthcare scientists are involved in 80% of clinical decisions in the NHS across more than 50 different specialisms here. And actually, it's really true. They're actually really closely involved now with patient pathways. So you might find yourself as a scientist being on a multidisciplinary team, which might have doctors and nurses and other health professionals on it. And you're making important decisions about how the patient will be treated or diagnosed as part of their journey. So you might be involved with cancer or heart therapies there. Over a billion tests. I was amazed at that in the NHS each year, carried out back by healthcare scientists. So my next picture I put up because I put this up in a talk we gave to some school teachers, and they said, "Oh, what's this got to do with healthcare science? This looks like a couple of people doing civil engineering, or a bit of architecture." But actually, the person on the right hand side there is me. I'm a physicist by background. And what we're doing is we're on the roof of a PET scanner. So that doesn't scan cats and dogs. It's used to scan humans for cancer. So quite a lot of radioactivity is used in our PET treatments. And so we need some people who know all about radiation safety to make sure that outside of our PET building, we haven't got dangerous levels of radiation. And that's what you can see us doing there. So one of the things I loved about this job really was you never really knew what would come up on a day-to-day basis. And also you'd find yourself in these lovely situations. You can see the sky is almost blue there, and we're having a lovely time outside making some radiation measurements in the open air. So I've got a few slides now just to talk about some of the different professions, just to give you just a short flavour. So radiation safety physics is the one we were just looking at there. So you will be somebody with a background in physics. You might have a degree or qualifications in physics, and you'll have a deep understanding then of radiation and how that travels in the environment and how that affects human beings. So you'll be a really important part of then deciding how do we make sure that members of the public and patients and our staff are kept safe. You'll work in the medical physics department there. So if you like your physics, of course, you've got options in engineering as well. And this is a rehabilitation engineer here, Stephen, whose job is very patient facing. And that's one of the things people sometimes don't appreciate with science is that you're actually in some of our professions working very closely with patients. So Stephen here will be making bespoke devices for people, and you can see the girl there has got a prosthetic leg that's been designed specifically for her to walk, and that's a really rewarding career option, I think, and not one that many people would associate with engineering. So then we go on to our life sciences. If you remember, we talked about pathology. These are kind of biological, chemistry based, if you like, your biochemistry, your biology, your chemistry subjects. You could find yourself in a lab. So an analytical toxicologist here is somebody who will be looking at samples of blood to determine whether there's been poisoning or not. They might also be testing water samples and things like that. So it's a very interesting job there to try and really get involved in the analysis of why a patient is ill in the way they are. You can see some little videos. I'm not going to show you that now. Histopathology is all about cancer, so a very important part there. It will be making microscope slides. You've seen these, I'm sure, and then able to very expertly interpret what's on that slide and decide whether the patient's got cancer or not and which types of cancer. And just moving on, physiological science we mentioned. So again, if you can measure it in a human, then you have a physiological scientist that does that. So they're kind of biological subjects, and they're also other examples of healthcare professions in science that are very patient facing there. So you can see neurophysiology is all about making measurements of the brain function, and audiology is a big thing. But lots of people hard of hearing, particularly in later life. But you know, you'd be surprised. The old-fashioned hearing aid now is long gone, and our modern hearing aids have artificial intelligence built in. They can tell you, give you early warning that you might be getting dementia, and they can do very clever things, like they figure out, okay, I can see Mark sitting in a car at the moment, and I know when he sits in the car he's got his children in the back, so I'm going to make sure that I listen to what's going on in the back seat more carefully than what's going on in front of me. Very clever medical technology. And I think the last slide here, this is about genomics, which we've mentioned. If you like DNA, scientific computing, this is the field for you. And I think this is the future. In the next 10 years, we're going to see a really big growth in personalized medicine. So Mark has one type of DNA, and you have a different type of DNA, and we'll get different medicines because we're different people.
Bioinformatics is...
Again, we don't want to see the video. And there we go. There's a QR code there. If you want to find out more about these professions, you can scan that, drop us the email that comes up, and you can join our Healthcare Science Network. Thank you.
Oh, fantastic. I knew those words were going to come up. Glad I don't have to try and pronounce any of them. Mark. Thank you very much, Mark. Healthcare science has been really fascinating. I've learned a lot from just working with you. I think you're at Midway Hospital now, or somewhere near there.